The situation, as you know, is such that there are, while about 165,000 migrants are about to benefit from quite a historic announcement that was made on 30th of September, whereby lots and lots of, like 165,000 of you will possibly, potentially, very likely will become residents of Aotearoa. We still have tens of thousands who have been left out of this historic announcement. Most of those people are onshore. We also have some who are stranded offshore, people who were living here, working here, but got caught out due to the borders being closed. And in the last 2 or so weeks, we've been sharing stories of those people who have been unfairly left out of this one-off residence visa 2021. And as part of that series, yesterday you met so many people who are stranded offshore, and you know, there's a common theme in all the stories of how people have called this country home for 5 years, more than 5 years. They've studied here, they've worked here, and you know, the ultimate dream is to be here permanently and be part of Aotearoa long term. So how lots of people have been left out. So today I will be speaking with Pavan, who is, while we don't divide up people in specific visa categories, but excuse me, Pavan is on a specific purpose visa. This is a very specialized visa, and it brings in a lot of skills and talents to New Zealand. And I will introduce you to Pavan very shortly, and I will let him explain his situation. Excuse me. I'm sorry about that. So yeah, and I also know there are many other people like Pavan who come here with their very specialized skills, and they work in very specialized industries because we don't have enough skilled people here to fulfill those gaps and to fill those roles. Without further ado, what I'm going to do is I am going to introduce Pavan, and I'm going to let him tell his own story, his own immigration journey in his own words. Welcome, Pavan.
Thanks, Energy. Thanks, everyone, for having me on the show.
Welcome, and thank you for giving us your time. So, firstly, when and how did you arrive in New Zealand?
Right. So I'm an IT professional working with one of the IT majors back in India.
Right.
So we were given an opportunity to travel onshore in New Zealand in 2017 for one of our clients. We are working for, like, me. When I say we, it's myself and my wife. Both are here on a specific purpose visa,
Right.
and we both are working in an IT major company back in India, and we both got an opportunity to work in New Zealand for the telecommunication giant over here. I won't be able to disclose the name though.
No, that's
But
fine. That's fine. Yeah.
yeah, so it was back in 2017 when all this started. So we were here on a specific purpose visa, which was granted initially for 1 year, and that's how the pattern is.
Right.
And then they say that however the work goes and how about the project requirements, it gets further extended. So it was first we got it for a year, and then it got extended for another year.
Yeah.
And then when they said that, okay, there are requirements, we are not able to find the resources back in here, and the performance is good, the project is having a great future, forecast is there. So it got extended directly for 3 years.
Right.
So effectively, the total tenure that we have been here is 5th year running right now.
5 years, nearly 5 years you've been here, right? Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
So,
And that in itself, it's the uncertainty, you've been here for a year, another year, it's difficult to plan your life because you don't know how much longer you're going to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Because having said that, we have got one son as well. So he was
Right.
2 when we traveled in here.
Right.
And when he turned 5, so we were not really sure of that, what we should do, because it's the age wherein the kids start going to the school back in India. So, although he was 5, so we secured a student visa for him at
Okay.
that point in time, so that at least he can start his initial education out here.
Yeah.
But then again, we were not really sure of that. What happens after once our 5-year tenure runs over.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very uncertain from that perspective.
Yeah.
So we thought of uh, making New Zealand as our home,
Yeah.
and then we filed our EOI, which is still in the queue. It's not being picked up because of the obvious reasons which everyone knows about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
uh, and the other option is that since we were on deputation,
Mm-hmm.
so we didn't have an opportunity to go out and explore options and
Yeah.
find a local job out here because the
Right.
specific purpose visa is you know closely tagged to the
Yes.
employer.
Yeah. 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 So,
So
yeah, I mean, just going back to that uncertainty, I'm not saying that it may have been the case for you and your wife, but quite often, if you've got one young child, people have another one, a sibling, a brother or a sister for the older one. But if you are uncertain like that, for a year, another year, if I was in your situation, I would be so torn apart. Should I have another child or not? That
absolutely,
uncertainty is just it's unfair and
absolutely.
inhumane.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because before coming in here, since we have been working in the IT field since the
Mm.
beginning of our career, so we got an opportunity to work in different spheres of the world, like the States, the UK, Malaysia, Central East.
Right.
So we both have worked in multiple geographies during our career. It's the off late that we have been in New Zealand, and unfortunately because of the COVID also, things have worsened
Mm.
from the certainty perspective,
Yeah.
but definitely with this opportunity that was being given to all the migrants out here,
Yeah.
we definitely feel that we were being left out specifically on this visa category because this visa should be treated as equal as the other visa categories which were marked as eligible because we are working in a white collar job,
Yeah.
contributing to the economy,
Mm.
doing whatever is expected to
Yes.
be done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. What I would like you to do next is just explain to my viewers and listeners a little bit about the nature of the job that your wife and yourself. What kind of job is it that you guys do, and then what are the skills that you bring with you?
sure. So being from the IT background, our primary role is to ensure that the IT systems are up and running.
Mm-hmm.
So having said that, although New Zealand is a very small market from IT perspective, but still, you know, the team of 5 million, as they say,
Yeah.
is definitely dependent on the IT or its byproducts in a way or the other.
Especially
So
during lockdowns now that everyone's having to
absolutely,
use technology to
ab-
do their normal
ab-
jobs. Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because and having said that, working for a telecom giant, it becomes more prudent and important for us to ensure that whenever the other sectors are working from home, there
Mm.
is proper connectivity available for them to efficiently perform their duties.
Yeah.
So from our perspective, our main task is to ensure that all the systems are up and running and people are able to
Mm.
seamlessly, carry on their duties and So basically, we act as enablers for
Yes.
the other
Yeah.
sectors. I should say that
To
we work behind the
function,
scenes.
yeah, as essential services, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because if one of the system is down, then obviously the people who are using that system
Mm.
will not be able to perform their follow-up
Yeah.
activities of their day-to-day jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's basically the back-end systems that we maintain,
Mm.
uh, which ensures that the front-end services are always available 24/7.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just sort of for myself as a layperson, we do so much shopping online these days, and there's the
Absolutely.
click and collects and the Zoom meetings and all sorts of stuff that we have become used to in the last 12 to 18 months. And it's
Hmm.
people like yourself who are enabling. Like you use the word, you're enablers, so you are enabling us to be able to to live during these lockdowns using technology.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah, carry on.
I mean, I still remember when initially last year when the lockdown was being imposed mid of last year. So nobody was prepared for it.
Mm,
Getting all the staff working from home, getting the things set up for the staff so that they can ensure that they can provide the equivalent amount of services to the customers who
Yeah.
call in, getting all the things made available online. Because, when people work from home, the traffic on the
Yes.
networks is comparatively very, very high.
Yeah. Can
Usually,
imagine.
on a monthly basis, if you say there are 1,000 folks working in a company,
Mm-hmm.
you can say 5% of the total workforce will work from home on
Mm.
any given day.
Mm.
But when we are in lockdown, then it's basically a whole team of 1,000 folks, engineers who are working from home.
Yep.
So we need to ensure that we are able to scale up and the network is, robust enough to, provide the connectivity to those 1,000 engineers, who
Mm.
in turn will be able to service the customers, who need to perform their day-to-day jobs and businesses.
Absolutely. I mean, it's such we talk about essential workers. You guys are in there, even though people
Mhm.
don't see you on the front lines, but very important work behind the scenes. So,
Absolutely.
uh, yeah, I mean, it really is so grossly unfair that people like yourselves, roles, skills, jobs like yours have been left out. It is grossly unfair. Really, I am of the thinking that anybody, even if they had used a simple guide, like any person who's been here 3 years or more,
Mhm.
should be eligible. That would have made it much more fair. That there would be very
Mhm.
few people left out, I imagine, and also it would have been easier to kind of deal with for Immigration New Zealand as well, I suppose. But so also, we with these lockdowns, that I think they will be almost a permanent feature in immediate future. So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit more about. Well, I see roles like yours being even more crucial and critical for everywhere in the world for the future. This is an ongoing thing for
Mhm.
people. Even already, more and more people are sort of stopping traveling to the offices. They're working online from home if they can. So there should be
Absolutely.
more of a demand for people like yourselves in the future.
Absolutely. And it's not just, the engineers.
Yeah.
It constitutes a humongous number of different roles
Mm.
within the IT sectors. If I say like the project managers, programmers, developers, product developers, testers, system analysts, network engineers.
Mm.
So there are heaps of variety of people who are, possessing niche skills, which are really, really hard to find
Yeah.
in New Zealand market at this point in time,
Yeah.
uh, specifically when the borders are also closed.
Mm.
So, it becomes more logical to
Mm-hmm.
provide an opportunity to, these set of people, because it's not just one, sector that has been targeted,
Yeah.
because, we have got our roots for various sectors, like our engineers on this specific kind of work visa are deployed and working in various banks,
Mm.
telecommunication,
Yeah.
industry, insurance sector. It's quite widespread.
Yeah.
So it's not just one small impact. It's the
Mm.
impact is quite
Yes.
high, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
across the board. Yeah, I would say across the board. So yeah, I mean, as you will know, we've been campaigning. So as a result of years of campaigning, I think we got this new residence visa. It's just that, yeah, I think we're 3/4 of the way there. Just a little bit more work and
Yeah.
pushing, and I'm hopeful and confident that we should be able to include people who have been left behind, including specific purpose visa holders. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
I guess there must be lots and lots of other people in this visa category like yourselves. When we
Yeah.
spoke through messages a few days ago, I think you mentioned
Mhm.
you have lots of colleagues who are in the same situation as yourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because it's a win-win situation from the company's perspective to get the resources on this kind of visa,
Hmm.
so that they can retain the talent and
Yeah.
retain the knowledge IP as well. But the problem is that when New Zealand government or the immigration department thinks that this is just a temporary visa,
Hmm.
that is actually not uh, a correct thought,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
if they say that with the specific purpose visa they never give a guarantee of the pathway to residency,
Yeah.
but that is the case for the essential work visa as well.
As well.
Nowhere it
Yeah.
says that if
Hmm.
you secure an essential work visa, that's a pathway for the residency.
Yeah.
And having said that, when I did more deep thought on this one,
Hmm.
uh, that's fine that if they don't want to include specific purpose visa in the eligible visa category, but then again they need to let us know that what is the alternate option that we have.
Yeah, that's right. The minister keeps saying, that there are other pathways to residency available to those who have been left out of this one. But yeah, like, you mentioned, the EOI is suspended. SMC,
Yeah.
we don't know when they will review. Others are about to come to an end in a couple of days, like the long-term skill shortage list and the accredited employers. So what are these other avenues available for you guys?
Absolutely, because
Yeah.
that again increases the anxiety and the uncertainty. Because first we thought that okay, immigration is doing some kind of major reset, so that actually gave some hopes. And when we see that yes, they have done a reset, which is actually beneficial and really good for most of the people who are out
Yeah.
here, but somehow it feels that people who actually qualify for all the different criteria that
Yeah.
they have laid down, uh, I qualify for all of those, and likewise, like colleagues on my colleagues on the other
Yeah.
companies are working will definitely qualify for all the other criteria that have been laid down, which is fine. But it's just that since we are our visa, current visa is not listed as the eligible
Yeah.
category visa,
Yeah.
so we are not able to reap out the benefits of it. Neither we are able to reap out the benefits of the fact that even though we have submitted the EOI, that's also not going anywhere.
Yes, yeah, and it's just, yeah, it
Yeah.
I can't stress enough that how unfair and grossly unfair it is. It's inhumane, and people need to be considered as human beings who add
Absolutely.
not just add value as economic units or to the economy of this country. There are so many other bigger, better ways that people contribute to societies. We this is a migrant nation. I've met people from just about every country in the world in New Zealand. I've lived in a couple of other countries as well, migrant countries, but nowhere like New Zealand. It's such a small country, but we have so nearly every country of the world represented. We are diverse. We've got so many languages. I think we've probably for the first time in the history of this country, we have the most multiculturally diverse parliament. And yet, they kind of fail to see the migrant issues. It's just quite ironic.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm mindful of time, so before I let you go, I'm just going to ask, what is it that, it's obvious what the demands are and what the asks are. If you would like to make a plea or a request to this government or the immigration minister, what is it that you would like to say?
Okay, so see, if they have made a decision, obviously there would have been some working minds. They have done some due diligence on the back of, making this whole reset done. So I have two simple asks.
Right.
One is that, just being cautious of the situation because every individual is in a different scenario or a situation. But collectively, if we see that everyone has contributed in one way or the other.
Yeah.
So, on if they're doing as a one-off thing, then I think they should be fair. They should give fair chance to everyone, as our respected Prime Minister also said that no one will be left behind. So the first thing is that they should expand the eligibility criteria to all who are there, who are actually who have contributed in one way or the other. And second thing, if by any chance they're not able to fulfill the first request, then at least show a legitimate achievable pathway, an alternative route, so that at least we have a hope.
Yeah. And pretty soon, not like in another 2, 3, 4, 5 years time, immediate, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, the timeline should be in line with whatever has been offered as a one-off residency. Because see, I understand that if they're not able to accommodate everyone in the one bucket, then obviously there has to be something else in a similar kind of bucket with a similar kind of timelines, with a similar kind of setup, which is again achievable, and it shows the ray of hope at the end of the tunnel, so that people get a morale and they are enthusiastic to achieve that, and let the ball roll, let it go, let's keep on going, that kind of attitude. Otherwise it's going to create a lot of anxiety and depression among the people who are actually deserving, but they are deprived of this facility.
Exactly. One last question. Your employers, do you have the support of your employers to lobby the government for this? Because I can imagine, obviously, the big employers out there who rely on skilled staff,
Mm-hmm.
highly skilled staff. I think it would really help if they can push as well, because sometimes the governments tend to listen more to businesses, big businesses especially. So
Mm-hmm.
is your employer on board at all?
So at this point in time, I will not be able to comment that whether we will
Okay,
get
fair
the
enough.
actual support from the employer.
Fair enough.
But yes, definitely we can explore that route.
Yeah. I'm thinking that not just your employer. Sorry, I didn't mean to sort of put you on the spot or single your employer out. But I think
Mhm.
generally employers do need to kind of get together. And already some employers associations and retailers associations are doing this kind of work. So maybe
Mhm.
in sectors like IT sectors, we could work on this too. I think it would be a good thing to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. The more we
Yeah.
collectively approach,
Yeah.
the better I think it would be, because it will be heard as single voice,
Yes.
which will be impacting the giver as well as the taker.
Absolutely. Listen, thank you very much, Pavan, for taking time out and sharing your situation and your circumstances with all of us. And let's stay strong. Let's stay together. And I'm hopeful that we will be able to see this through. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Thanks.
See ya.
So, friends, that was Pavan, as you heard, from IT sector. And amid these lockdowns, extremely important skill and work, and those jobs that, if these people weren't here, if these people weren't filling these roles and doing these jobs, we would not be able to connect with each other through technology. A lot of the stuff that happens online, it wouldn't be as sophisticated, as fast, or we would just come to a grinding halt. These days, even before the lockdowns came along, we have been heavily reliant on technology, and even if we put all of that aside, everybody who is already here should be given this one-off residence visa, because it is a one-off. And we've said this so many times. This is a category that is not going to stay here forever. It is just a one-off. So it kind of makes sense to include all the people who are already here, including those who are stranded offshore. So it is really kind of crazy to leave people out like this. And like Pavan said, he meets all three eligibility criteria. So, you can imagine sectors like that, they're paid well above $27 an hour, the median wage. And he's been here nearly 5 years, like many of his other colleagues and peers in the industry. And most of their jobs are also on scarce lists, long-term skill shortage lists and what have you. So, just because they're on a different type of visa, it's just absurd. And I've used that word absurd quite a lot in these live streams. I'll have to go and look up the thesaurus to find different words and different adjectives. So what? We'll keep connecting with you out there. Those of you who have been excluded from this new one-off residence visa. So we'll keep talking to you through these live streams. What I might try to do is just go through some of the comments here. Ravneet Kaur, it's like a black day who are left. Absolutely, Ravneet, it is very, very unfair, and it pains me to think about this each time. I was talking to another migrant earlier today who came here nearly, it would be 7 or 8 years now. Came here as a student, did the whole thing, and then did his post-study work visa 1 year, and then he was on an essential skills work visa, I think. Lost that job, got grossly exploited, had no choice but went back to studying, and he is now almost a qualified chef, but he was due to finish his course in August, get his qualification, and then apply for the he could have gotten a post-study work visa, but I think because he'd studied a higher level before, so he couldn't. So he had a job offer, so he would have gotten an essential skills work visa, but his his study got delayed due to lockdowns, so he didn't quite finish by 29th of September, so he's still on a student visa, and that's the reason why he will not be able to he's not eligible for this. So there are so many stories like that and I think just to make it simple, they should just have had the 3-year cutoff, I guess. Some of the people would still have been left out, but it wouldn't have been as many. It would have been mostly the more recent students or people who are visiting and have gotten stuck here. And I don't think we should be extending residence visas to visitors anyway, that because their intention is just to visit and not to be here permanently. So yeah, there are still ways of making this visa category all inclusive. So that they just need to say that anyone who's been here for 3 years or more is eligible. If they really want to, they could say, yeah, okay, if you meet health and character requirements, they could put that in. Even then, most of you would be included in this. Rachel Swan, thank you for all your hard work and support. And thanks for your work too, Rachel. I know you've been working really hard too with the upcoming written submission for your petition. Somebody's put, Jenny Zhu has put a link there for a petition. People who are holders of specific purpose or event work visa should also be allowed to apply. Yeah, absolutely agree with you, Jenny. Yes, I like I said, anyone who's been here for 3 years or more should be allowed. Thank you very much for your support. Hardik Prajapati, post-study work visa holder, we had invest our valuable time in conspiracy of COVID-19. Well, COVID is real, as you can see around the world. I don't think it's a conspiracy. COVID is real. I have a family member back in India who has passed away, sadly, of COVID. He was a little bit younger than me, my cousin's husband. So I have a cousin who's 2 years younger than me, widowed at the age of 51, 52. So COVID is real. It's not a conspiracy. Most people will know, will have sadly either lost people to COVID or had illness, sickness. Border closure, as we keep reiterating, it has never been our demand for the borders to be reopened for those who are stuck offshore. The demand has been that their visas should be extended, so that whenever the borders reopen, those people can come back and resume their life here. Prajal Krish, this policy is unjust, unfair, and improperly thought out. Absolutely, it is. It almost sounds like it's been rushed. So yeah, they've still got another 4 or 5 weeks where they can put this right. It can be corrected. It doesn't take too much. Shows the incompetence of the minister. Again, I'm not defending the minister, but I think it's a whole cabinet that makes a decision. So the government, I think that's who we need to look at, not just the minister on their own. In recent times, I have not met any ministers of any. I shouldn't say this actually. For a minister to get their way, they would have to be really strong, staunch, and gutsy. Excuse me with my coughing. The minister is very soft and passive, obviously, but then the policies are coming from the government itself. So, okay, bye, Liu Su. Sorry, that's not in English, and I'm afraid I can't read that. Hina Sood, post-study work visa, working remotely in an IT company as a software tester and meets all. Yes, Hina, we have communicated recently, and this is just so tragic. They are happy to use your labor, your skills. They're happy to take your income tax. You're still working for an employer in New Zealand, but just you're working online from another country. It is just unfair. Either they got to stop taking advantage of your services, or they got to include you in this visa category. Fully agree. Pavan, who was with us just a few minutes ago, thank you for giving voice to all of us and having me on the show. Appreciate your effort. And thank you, Pavan. We need all of you to keep talking about your situations. Vikas Vyas, hello. It is not clear for the latest announcement about, yes, very good point that you've mentioned. I will make it clear. the long-term skill shortage list work visa. Okay, so people who are on a work to residence visa under the categories of accredited talent accredited employer or long-term skill shortage list. So those visa categories are coming to an end on 31st of October this year. So in another 2-3 days time. So those categories are ending. You will not be able to apply for those work to residence visas after 31st of October 2021. However, the most recent information, I actually forget how recent it is, on Immigration New Zealand website, it's there. And I also contacted Immigration New Zealand Contact Centre today and sought clarification, because the information that they have it says people on those visas, work to residence visas, if they had already started working in those jobs, and if they left the country, if they are stranded offshore, they do provide dates as well. And if they still haven't come back by 31st of October 2021, and should their visa expire in that time, they will be able to reapply for those visas when they return to New Zealand, despite those visa categories being closed off on 31st of October. So when I first read that, my instant thing was like, okay, they can't reapply from offshore. They have to come back to New Zealand to reapply, but their visas have expired. How can they re-enter New Zealand to reapply? So the clarification there is that you seek a critical purpose visitor visa. That's what you try to apply for. And if you're invited to apply for a critical purpose visitor visa, obviously you enter New Zealand with all the sort of MIQ things or whatever is in place. And then you, if you still hold that job, if your employer is still keeping that job open for you, you have the opportunity to then reapply for your long-term skill shortage or the talent accredited employer work to residence visa, and your 2 years will start again from the time you reapply. So that is the correct information, as I was given clarification by INZ Contact Centre. Okay, yes, you're right. INZ confirmed that you have to be onshore for reapplication, but what is the point? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is how it reads when you first look at it. So yeah, you need to navigate through Immigration New Zealand website to first find out whether or not you are eligible for that critical purpose visitor visa. So once you register and you are eligible, then you will be invited to make an application for the critical purpose visitor visa, and yeah, that's how you come back and reapply. I have no idea how many people this will benefit, because when I tried to navigate earlier today, the criteria, it's a very narrow criteria, so that's why I fear that it may not benefit many people. It just depends on the dates of like when you left, and it seems quite narrow, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm proved wrong. Okay. So Gurnur Singh, if this is a reset of immigration, then why not include all visa holders who have contributed in NZ economy? I would actually go further than that, Gurnur. Not just people who have contributed in New Zealand economy. I would say any person who's been here 3 years or more, apart from people on visitor visas, because most other visa categories who come here, they have work rights. So you are contributing, without, even people who come here visiting as tourists, they are contributing to by being tourists. But anyway, visitor visas we can leave aside. So I would say every person who's been here for 3 years or more, included those who are stranded offshore, should be eligible for this visa category, provided they meet health and character requirements. I would say even with character requirements, they can make it lighter. They can relax things a little bit. The main concern would be we're not sort of giving residence to some serial rapist or murderer or something like that. Other than that, minor driving offences and things like that should not be held against people. Okay, Vikas, but because we don't satisfy the criteria for border exemption and got lots of rejection, so no benefit. Okay, yeah, I suspected that this might be a very narrow thing that they've announced. So again, the right thing to do here is actually for them to extend visas for all of you who are stranded offshore. That is actually a much easier and a more appropriate way of doing it, rather than make people jump through so many hoops. Just extend the visas for however long the border remains closed. Extend everybody's visas, and whenever the border reopens, we then gradually start bringing everybody back. That's the more sensible way of doing it. Okay, I think I might just wrap up soon and sign off, since yesterday's session was quite long, and then normally we sort of try to do lots of other stuff in the background as well. Before I go, what is it that we can all do to keep putting word out there, to keep making these requests for the government to extend eligibility criteria for the new residence visa? What is it that we can do? If we weren't in level 3, level 2 lockdowns in the country, we would all be protesting, rallying, meeting up and down the country. We've done that before, holding vigils all at the same time in different cities. That's what we would have been doing continuously. Obviously, we can't do that. We are mindful that we don't spread COVID any more than it is already spreading, especially the Delta variant is quite rampant and aggressive. So we want to do the responsible thing. You will have seen in the news today the Hikoi that went from south to north to Waitangi grounds, and you will have also have seen press statements and other information in media where most of the iwi, the Maori groups and chiefs and everybody is just saying like, these people are nothing to do with us. The Hikoi is claiming to be it's just they're anti-vaxxers and very unscientific. It's just crazy. I personally have come to the point that let's get vaccinated. Otherwise we will all be locked in our homes for I don't know for how long. It's just unhealthy for our mental health, and it's not good for children to be not going to school and interacting with their classmates, and for us to be actually working out of our workplaces, and social interactions are very important. So let's just get the 90% vaccination rate so that we can move to this new system that the government is proposing, the traffic light system. So we can't protest, we can't hold public meetings, not large ones anyway, so online is kind of the thing to do. So that's why we've been holding these sessions where we listen to all migrants who have been left out. There are several petitions going around. There was one that Rachel had, close to 22,000 signatures, so that's already been submitted to Parliament, and soon Rachel will be making a written submission, and then that will just follow its course in Parliament. There are also other petitions like the Green Party petition, which is actually probably the most comprehensive and includes nearly all the demands that there are in terms of migrants, both here and offshore. So go and sign that petition and then share it too. Last time I looked a couple of days ago, I think it was close to 7,000 signatures. There is also there's also ACT Party's petition. Now, this is quite a strange time. I am not an ACT supporter. I am not a National Party supporter, but strangely enough, it's ironic that James McDowell from ACT Party, their immigration spokesperson, has been saying almost the same things as Ricardo Menendez March from the Green Party has. We've worked closely with the Greens even before Ricardo was an MP. He was an activist in those days. And back in 2016-17, we had Indian students who were deported. So we had huge support from the Green Party. The MP at that time, Denise Roach, was continuously raising the matter in Parliament, in the House during question time, and also when our students were in sanctuary at Unitarian Church. continuous, regular visits from the Green Party, lots of support. So, yeah, we've always worked with them. But, hey, go and sign the petition by the ACT Party as well, I would say. What else can we do? Keep talking to each other. Media, it's very important. Mainstream media, it's difficult to get into mainstream media at the moment with migrant issues because COVID is kind of taken up all the space. But keep trying, and then keep writing to your local MPs, especially if they are Labour Party MPs, because they're in government. So keep writing to them with your stories and with what you demand. Okay, what else do we have? Gurnur NZ has sent cricket players to Dubai for tournament. Those players should go through MIQ lobby. Then it will be appropriate. Yeah, same rules for everybody. In fact, I would say, they need to put a stop to these sporting tournaments. The risk is there. When they come back, they could be bringing COVID, and they could also be taking out to other countries. So these kinds of events need to be put on hold because our lives have been put on hold. Why can't these other things be on hold? They're not essential services. So I think they should stop all these matches and sports. And we've had America's Cup and all the rest of it. It needs to stop for the time being. Guru Singh, after 90% is achieved, there will be more requirements. Government is just lying. Okay, I'm willing to give this government the benefit of doubt. We reach 90% vaccination, and if COVID is still growing around us, then yeah, maybe they will bring something else. But if COVID is under control, because that's what scientific research is telling us. I'm a scientist by training and background, so I do have confidence and faith in scientific research. So let's go with that. And I guess as activists, our work will never be done. We will be fighting something or the other till our last breath. So yeah, there may be something else that we have to fight this government for if the COVID issues is sorted and if all the migrants issues are sorted. For example, there are issues for people who live here. We don't have enough houses. The ones we do are too expensive. And we don't have free education for all. Lots of things that we still need to work towards. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is leave you on that note, and hopefully I will be with you all again next Wednesday, 7 p.m. If in the meantime there is a need or call for us to go live again with your stories, we can always do that. So yeah, just keep reaching out to us, and we will try our best. So for tonight, that's it, folks. Stay connected, stay united, stay strong, stay safe. We will make it. Thank you and good night.